welcome back to the My Virgo Friend podcast. I am your host, CheChe. I hope this podcast episode is finding you in good spirits. Hope your day is going well. Let's jump right into our deep breathing. I want you to take over 4 deep breaths, inhaling through the nose and exhale fully through the mouth. Inhale. And take a sip of your beverage. I'm sipping water, of course. Cheers, cheers. So we're still in Gemini season. Shout out to all the Geminis, as well as the other air signs, Libra and Aquarius. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Cheers to you. Shout out to the water babies, the Cancers, Scorpios, and Pisces. Cheers to y'all. And last but not least, the Earth Gang, the Virgos, Capricorns, and those damn Tauruses. Cheers, cheers, cheers. So again, I hope your day is going well. Apologies if my energy is a little low, but yeah, my energy is a little low. So I'm gonna get through this episode, but just a little disclaimer beforehand. The moon is in Leo today. I feel like I haven't recorded a podcast episode in a long time. It just feels like a long time since I've recorded an episode. So apologies if it feels like that to you as well. But I meant to have an episode out yesterday, and today I'm like, you know what? I need to put it out there. So, so we're going to push through. Again, I don't have my topic set aside, other than talking about where the moon is today. And it's not a new moon or full moon. The moon is in Leo right now. So we'll talk a little more about that and just the influence of Leo energy anyway that I've been noticing and recognizing. So we'll talk about that. And also just like the message and what I've been learning in regards to, because for me, it's like a really big shadow work period. Like it's a really big shadow energy for me. Personally, I'm doing a lot of shadow work, so I may touch on that a little bit and just talk more about what shadow work is. But yeah, I don't really have like an outline of what I was going to talk about. We're just going to see what happens, all right? So again, we're still in Gemini season. We're still in Mercury retrograde. We're still, in the spring season. We'll be reaching the summer solstice soon. I want to say that's June 20th. So it's June 15th at the time of this podcast recording. So I want to say on the 20th is when we will enter the summer season with the summer solstice. I want to say that's like the longest day of the year. So you may want to plan accordingly. But yeah, so we're going to be moving out of the spring energy into the summer. We're still in that eclipse energy. So have you been noticing any major changes, any sudden cataclysmic change, any type of catalyst moments, just any type of shocking revelations, enlightenment, cutting people off, people leaving your life dramatically and or quickly. Those are some of the things you'll notice with eclipse season. And I want to say we're going to move into another eclipse for the full moon in Capricorn, which happens in Cancer season. If I remember correctly, there's usually a lunar eclipse that happens. I want to say there's like 3 back to back. There's a lunar, a solar, then the lunar again. And we just had the solar eclipse with the new moon in Gemini. So hopefully you use that energy to your advantage. Remember, with Gemini season, this is Pride season. So shout out to the Pride community. And, and I was talking about Leo energy earlier also. But with this Pride energy, regardless of how you sexually identify, hopefully we're all taking on the energy of just taking a little more pride in ourselves, okay? So what does that mean? Well, what makes yourself proud? Is it your appearance? Is it how you carry yourself that makes you feel proud of yourself? Is it your accomplishments, your intellect, your rewards, awards, whatever, your incentives? Is that what makes you proud? Is it your character? Is it your values? Is it, what is it that gives you a sense of pride? Because as I mentioned, for myself personally, I'm going through a shadow work period where I'm just facing myself. I'm facing the shadowy parts, the dark parts of myself. And if you go back to the My Virgo Friend trailer, that was one of the key things I wanted to talk about with this podcast, just showing, if you're going through your spiritual journey and you have this belief in higher power, or you want to have this belief in higher power, but you're just struggling with parts of yourself that you just don't really understand, or you don't really like or appreciate, whatever, you can't just avoid it. You can't just ignore it. You got to work through it. You got to try to understand it. Give it some love. So with having this shadow work period, it's easy because you're expected to basically check yourself. Check yourself is self-love, right? Calling yourself out on your own bullshit, holding yourself accountable for poor habits or no progress, slow progress. Of course I say the recovery is just as important as the active, as the energy, as the active periods, right? The recovery is just as important, right? But sometimes we can beat ourselves up if we feel like life isn't going as quickly as we envisioned, as quickly as we had hoped. And it may feel like our manifestations aren't working, as if our prayers aren't being heard, as if we're not being seen. So I feel you. I share your energy and just feeling like, want to consider yourself a failure at certain things, want to, you know, considering, what am I doing? What should I be doing? Am I on the right track? Am I, using my gifts? Am I utilizing my time the way I should? Am I doing what I want to do, essentially? So I'm kind of going through that period too, where I'm just trying not to beat myself up, but you gotta face the darkness of you. You have to face the darkness of, you know, um, self-sabotage. Like that was another lesson I learned the other day. I had paid to go to a dance class, and I bought the ticket earlier in the day. Well, by the time the evening came and the rain had started to fall, and my energy is a little less because, it's later in the day. And of course, I'm thinking about the class because I purchased the ticket ahead of time. So, giving myself an anxiety, you know how I do. And I had this moment where I'm like, okay, I'm not just going to go to class. I'm just going to tell them, hey, sell my ticket, cash out me the money, whatever, but I'm not coming. And I'm not sure where that mindset came from, but I just all of a sudden didn't want to go. And I ended up still going to the class. I never tried to sell my ticket. It was just a thought that came and went. And I was like, you know what? No, I need to go because I hadn't been in a while. And I went to class and I got the choreo and I did really well. And I was really proud of myself. Wow, this is coming to me right now. I was really proud of myself because after the class, I was thinking, okay, this is an example of how I self-sabotage myself, right? I know I love to dance. I know that dance is a form of therapy for me. It's a meditation for me. It's something that I love and I enjoy doing. And when it came time for me to do the very thing that I know that I love, that makes me feel good, right? Then I just had this random thought to just not go. Like the class is already paid for. I don't mind the drive. It's not like I'm making that drive every single day, right? I mean, yes, it's raining, but what's the alternative? To sit at home again, to watch TV again, to spend another 30, 40 minutes on Netflix trying to find something just to end up watching something halfway and not liking it? Or rewatching, binging a series I've already saw? Or just doing some other type of foolishness, right? It's like, what, you're gonna like not go to a dance class because you want to do this? No, we're going to class. So, the fact that I pushed that voice to the side and say, you know what, no, I need to go, even though I don't feel like driving, even though I don't want to leave the house because the moon is in Cancer, because this happened a couple days ago. The moon is in Cancer. So, of course, I want to be in my home. I want to be in my shell. I want to be with my snacks. I want to be with my comfort energy things. So, my blanket, my TV, my couch, my dog. I want to be in the comfort of my own space with my snacks in the dark, in the cold, bundled up, crying my heart out, okay? Because I've been pretty emotional the past couple of days, you know? And I could be better at how I've been expressing that energy, but um yeah, I had to bypass all of that energy. I have to bypass all of that negative self-talk that, oh, you can go to another dance class later this week. Oh, you know, you may not get the choreo, you may not get a video, you may not enjoy it, you may drop all the way there and not like it. Because there have been times where I've driven to a class, not bought my ticket. Anytime I bought my ticket, I'm going to that class. But there may have been times where I've driven to class with the intention to take the class and pull up to the space and just don't go. Just don't go in. Just don't buy it. Just change my mind, because anxiety is a bitch, man. But yeah, so I had to get over all that negative self-talk saying, oh, it doesn't matter. You go to another class. Oh, you're running late. Because I was even halfway there and I ran into traffic because, again, it was raining. It was the weekend. It was later in the day. So I ran up on a car accident that had traffic slow down. So it was going to put me getting there 10 minutes late. So I'm like, oh, the flyer says be there on time. Well, duh, doesn't every classroom start on time? So I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be late. This is all the more reason why I need to cancel. And it's like, nope, just get there. And I ended up getting there like 4 minutes, 4 minutes after class started, and we still didn't start until 10 minutes after that. So I was fine. And that's just another reminder too. Like, I just be so glad that, like, for the most part, I drop the speed limit and stuff and I don't speed, because I always try to keep in mind, I'm gonna be pissed if I'm speeding somewhere, get a ticket, and then when I arrive to the place, they still hadn't even started yet, or it's canceled, or it's like, you know what, I got this ticket for nothing because I was rushing for nothing. Hurry up and wait. So just keep that in mind when you find yourself speeding and stuff. You may end up getting a ticket for nothing. Knock on wood, okay? But yeah, so I was just really proud of myself that I was able to overcome that negative self-talk, that I was able to get out my own head and still persevere in doing something that I like to do. And what's coming to me now is that I had a sense of pride. I gave myself a moment where I could be proud of my art form, where I could be proud of my gift, where I had the opportunity to share my energy with other people and to receive the energy from others. That's healing for me. Like, I love that stuff. I love the energy exchange of dancing and performing. So why was I going to deny myself of that? You know, like, why do we do that? Why do we stand in our own way when it comes to want to do things that we really like to do? Like, is there something that's coming to your mind where it's like you look forward to doing something, and then when the opportunity arises for you to do that very thing, you talk yourself out of it, or you don't plan, you don't set the intention to fully, truly, really commit to the thing. You just lip service, like, oh, someday I'm gonna, and then you just never do it. Why do we do that? So I was really proud of myself for getting over the negative self-talk, but now just realizing I gave myself an opportunity to be proud of myself, right? Because that's also part of healing the inner child, which is also part of shadow work. Going back to that wounded 5-year-old, 6-year old, 8-year-old self, 10-year-old self, whatever your age is that you were locked in insecurity. Go back to that younger you and say, hey, I see you. Hey, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up so bad. Let's work through this together. Like, why are you so traumatized? Why are you so anxious about this thing? So um for me, dancing is healing my inner child. It's doing the shadow work. It's getting my body moving. It's helping me to get the Shakti energy moving in my core, in my base. It's allowing my heart to crack open, because I'm in this period where I literally feel like my heart is breaking. Like, I literally feel like that. Like, and this is what I was concerned about. with recording today because um, yeah, yeah, I'm really just processing some deep emotions right now, and I'm going through a very transformative phase in my life where I'm just learning about myself and just wanting to make this next chapter of my life really good and really exciting. But in order for me to do that, I have to have clarity and understanding of the chapter I'm closing, the story I'm choosing to leave behind, the one that I have to give myself peace for, because no one else is going to give me peace, right? No one else is going to give me the answers I've been wanting to know, because it would have happened already, right? So we have to make sure we're allowing ourselves to move on. And in order to move on, you got to feel. You have to feel to heal. Mercury retrograde, which we're still in right now, is all about reflection. It's all about reviewing, going back, remembering. It's all about going to the memories, because remember, we are remembering. So going back to the memories, recalling how you felt, recalling red flags that you just let pass you by, recalling conversations, significant moments in your life, recalling those pivotal moments in your life, because we're in a pivotal moment now. With it being June, we're halfway through the year. Like I said on the last episode, we should be in this period of reflection where we're looking at the past 6 months, the past year. Maybe what were you doing at this time frame before, Like for me, I moved in July. So in June, I was in that energy of needing to move, right? So just think about what your year ago was looking like, what your 6 months ago was looking like. What were your New Year's resolutions centered around? What were you looking forward to in the new year? What were you disappointed that didn't manifest in 2020? And what were you looking forward to for 2021? Because we're halfway through the period now. So as you're reflecting on the past year and reflecting on what went well, what didn't work out, consider the times you self-sabotaged yourself. Consider the times you didn't plan and opportunities passed you by. Consider the times you didn't train when you needed to, as consistently as you needed to. And so your body has regressed. Your energy is lower. Your spark just isn't as brilliant. Your words are fewer. Your experiences are meh. It's not fulfilling. Just consider all of those moments of regression because of lack of discipline, lack of consistency, and lack of belief in yourself that you're actually worthy and capable of change. Okay, that's coming. Um, because that's another reason how we stand in our own way, how we self-sabotage by believing, oh, I don't have 2 months to get my body in shape. I don't have 6 months to learn a new skill. I don't have 6 months to save money. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I don't have the desire. I don't have all this that we put on ourselves, We stand in our own way by stealing one day at a time from us. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Every time you tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow, you're stealing a day from yourself. I'll do it later. I'll handle it later. Okay, you'll see that anxiety later too. You'll feel that anticipation later too. When you didn't have to, you could have handled it right then and there. But no, you want to debilitate your body, do you? You want to deplete that energy, right? You must do. Like, why do we inflict these wounds on us? Like I'm not a cutter. I've never had a desire to self-mutilate myself. I can't relate. I don't get it. But I can admit that I self-mutilate in ways where it may be holding my emotions in to where it breaks me down inside, to where I explode in emotion, where the tears are anger, sometimes by myself, sometimes to the people closest to me. And that's something I can't stand about myself, that I love that I feel so deeply. I love that I have these deep emotions and that I'm so compassionate and that I don't mind expressing how I feel. I love telling people exactly how I feel because I like to feel heard. I like to feel seen. I like to feel I like to feel understood. So the opposite of that is not expressing myself, not dancing, not talking, not seeing people face to face, not getting that energy exchange, but keeping myself locked down in my comfort zone, right? Because I keep getting the message I need to step out of my comfort zone. Okay, like in what sense? Like literally moving or switching jobs or switching my career, art form, passion, like specifically where, So um, just consider how you're standing in your own way. All the times of self-sabotage, the times you've regressed. What areas have you regressed? Because we have to pivot. We're either going to pivot to excel and ascend even more than we already have, or we're pivoting from what hasn't been working. But either way, you have to pivot. You got to go somewhere. You got to jump. I got the message to go out into nature and to look up. So I took Conan out, my dog, took him out. And I was just looking up and I saw, a squirrel, run up the tree. And as soon as he got to the top, like without a thought, he immediately leaped to the tree next to him, and it reminded me of the Fool card in Tarot, which just speaks on, taking the chance and taking the leap of faith and taking the risk and, leap without looking, that whole energy, right? Just having faith that it's going to work out, that you're going to land on your feet. And so I saw that. So I just took that as a message to, don't think so much, like just act more. Like I've been trying to say, oh, act more. Maybe I need to submit resumes, right? But get more in the body, not so much in the head. That's one of my goals I've been trying to do. And it's hard because we're in an air sign. We're in Gemini season, in Mercury retrograde. It's very Mercury dominant right now, right? So it's hard to not be so much in the head, but more so operating from the heart and solar plexus spaces, right? Um, moving from your energetic center. So how can you have more pride for yourself? What makes you proud of who you are? Because shadow work is very important. It's necessary in order to maintain great relationships with valuable people. You got to work on your demons. You got to work on your shortcomings. And you have to be open to understanding how you can heal those dark, shadowy parts of you, right? Those parts that hurt us and that end up hurting other people if we don't deal with it. So, what makes you proud? Because you got to have some type of balance with all this shadow work, with all this beating yourself up, and those moments of regret, those moments of I wish I woulda, those moments of that causes you to regress and to feel remorseful, and the need to release and the desire to relapse, like all that energy that just makes you want to like go crab style, like go into your crab shell and just kind of, just lock in. You got to remind yourself of those chin up moments, Leo energy, those moments of where you wear your crown, those moments where you have a sense of pride, where you have shoulders back energy and you're beaming orange gold glitter, like you're radiating joy and fulfillment, and your energy is yummy and life is yummy to you, and it's just, you just have that sense of I love this part of me. That's where I encourage you to tap into right now, because especially if you've been going through an emotionally draining now with Mercury retrograde, with this eclipse energy, these eclipses we keep having back to back, and then the oncoming energy of Cancer season, the waters are starting to rush in for Cancer season. So if you've been feeling a little more emotional than usual, It may be that Cancer energy that's starting to rush in, okay? So it's very important to balance out those shadow work moments, those moments where you're, yes, calling yourself on your BS, but still give yourself some grace. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up. You're as young as you're going to be in this lifetime. You're as old as you are now with the experience you have now. Don't beat yourself up because you didn't know more when you wish you would have known more. Don't beat yourself up because you were vulnerable with people that were not vulnerable with you. You were open and honest with people that may not were open and honest with you. Sometimes we choose not to see the signs, the red flags, because we don't want to believe that people are rejecting us. We don't want to believe that people don't want to be in our presence. Like, what do you mean you don't want to text me back? What do you mean you don't want to call me back? What do you mean you don't want to come back over here? What do you mean you don't want to hook up again? Me, like, do you see the material? Get into it. Like, it's a gift to be in my presence. Do you understand like what I could have been doing instead of entertaining you? Do you know who I could have been spending my time with, but I chose to spend it with you? Do you know I could have been doing alone, enjoying my solitude, but I chose to spend it with you? When people don't reciprocate that energy that you give to them, take it as a sign, okay? But if you take it as a sign, recognize it and continue to put yourself in a situation to be disappointed, to get your feelings hurt, to be rejected, consider if that's your form of self-mutilation. It's not always cutting and carving into your skin. Sometimes it's cutting your hair. Well, I won't say cutting your hair, but yeah, shit, yeah. Britney Spears shaved her head and she was going through something. So consider what your self-mutilation may be. It may not be drawing blood from your body. It may be not eating. It may be overtraining. Okay? It may be the negative self-affirmations you talk to yourself, right? It may be binge eating. It may be binge watching TV. Whatever unhealthy habit that keeps you locked into a mindset, into a habitual loop of unproductiveness and insecurity and time wasting, maybe that's your self-mutilation, right? That energy that's making you feel like darkness is all around you and darkness is all there is. And I understand, I get it. It may feel like that, but you have got to balance it out, and you have to be the one to balance it out. Just like with the Gemini energy, with the two faces, the two masks. One is smiling, one is crying, like that laugh now, cry later energy. You may be crying now, but you're gonna laugh later. Okay? You may be feeling dark and heaviness now. You may find yourself frowning for no reason. Like, that's one thing I try to work on, like when I'm just not talking to anybody, like when I'm not engaging anybody and I'm just like minding my business, I feel myself frowning. And I know it's because deep down inside I'm hurting, and I'm healing. I'm in the process of healing myself. But just try to catch yourself when you find yourself frowning. You may be crying now. It may be hurtful now. It may be very painful now. The experience you're going through may be foreign. You may be going through it alone, where you're used to experiencing life with other people, okay? Maybe you're used to having a game plan. You're used to having things in order just in case things go wrong. And now you're experiencing life where you just don't have that luxury. You don't have the opportunity to know what's next. And it freaks you out. I get it. Maybe you're missing somebody and they're not reciprocating the energy that you gave them. They're not appreciating and valuing your time and energy like you appreciate it and value their time and energy. And it hurts because it's like, how could you not? How could you not? But it's not even about you. How people treat you is about how they are, how they feel, what they're doing, what they need to do. It's not about you. So don't make it about you. Don't take on the burden of them trying to figure you out. Don't take on the burden of trying to get them to see that you're the prize. Don't take on the burden of trying to figure out what's wrong with you. There's, you know what I'm saying? Like, unless there's something clinically wrong with you, and unless there's something that you have a healthy understanding that it could be improved, it could be better, don't go around thinking that there's just something wrong with you all because you were rejected. Or not even rejected, that someone just didn't follow up with you. Because not now doesn't mean not ever, right? And I don't say that with the sense of stalk them or wait for them. No. But it's like at the same time, don't feel like, oh my God, like, oh my God, like it's the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. It may or may not come back around in the future. It may. But in the meantime, keep living your life. Don't like be stuck on stupid. Don't just be waiting. Live in the waiting. Like live in the anticipation, right? Like live in the moment. So, for those people that are in the dating world and that are, trying to find themselves, trying to understand what they want in someone else, what they want in a partner, trying to piece together what the lessons was to be learned, with a past relationship, a past marriage, a past friendship that you was hoping that would bud into a romance. So just focus on healing you. Focus on healing your inner child because they may be doing that exact same thing. And while you're over here being mad, thinking about them in a negative light, they're just trying to get healed. They're just trying to get better. Maybe you were a mirror to one of their shadow parts and now they're going through their shadow work. Maybe their shadow work is having to stop being so free willy-nilly with their sexual energy. And you're thinking, oh my God, I must not be good enough. I must not be wet enough. I must not have so-called good pussy. I must not have good sex. I must not be big enough. I must not be, something must be wrong if they didn't want to come back. Like, no, like people are just always doing what they got to do, and they may be respectful to you, your time, your energy, your feelings. They may not, but don't let that stop you. Don't let that get you all in a tizzy of just automatically thinking something is wrong with you. No. Continue getting better. Like, always seek to glow up. Always seek to be smarter, to look better, to smell better, to have better money management, to always try to do that. Whether you're single or actively looking for a relationship, you should always be seeking to be better. Don't let someone be the reason you're trying to glow up, shit, glow up and grow up, right? Don't let that be outside. Don't let the precedence or priority of that intention be higher than what you see for yourself, right? Like, you should want to look good for you. Of course, you want to impress other people as human nature, duh, whether you're trying to impress the same sex or the opposite sex, whatever. Just make sure that you're the first person that you're trying to appease, that you're carrying yourself and showing up into the world in the way that you want to show up into the world. Because that's another Leo theme, right? How you present yourself to the world, how you showcase yourself to the world. Do you present yourself as royalty? Do you consider yourself priority? What is your Leo energy? Leo energy is Whitney Houston. It is J-Lo, okay? These are some of our Leo queens, all right? Fire. What is fire? Fire is passionate. Fire is warm, okay? Inviting. Like when you see a bonfire, when you see a fireplace, it encourages you to come and experience the warmth, right? To experience the coziness, right? To bond with other fire bodies, to bond with other energies of heat, right? To connect, that connection, maybe even sexual energy, right? So all of those are things when it comes to fire energy, Leo energy. So if you are in the dating world, if you are in that period of your life where you're trying to understand what your sexual energy is, understanding what your alter ego is, what you want in someone else, it's okay. Keep doing that work because when you do connect with someone, you want to make sure you have an understanding of what you want, how you like to be pleased, and what you need in order for you to be your best and your highest. Because you shouldn't have to explain to someone what you like. Basic respect, basic communication just goes without saying, right? But of course, people can't read your mind, and you need to tell them, hey, I approve of this. I don't care for this. I do not respond to this energy. I love it when you do this. Like, of course, let people know how you feel, but don't, excuse me, whoa, don't disrespect yourself by begging people to be decent to you. Because for the most part, people know exactly what they're doing. For the most part, people know your worth. They're just hoping that you don't. Some people are bored. Remember, we still live in a society where people see nothing wrong with catfishing. You know, like we live in a world where people actively seek to deceive people, and narcissism is becoming more and more, not becoming, but people are educating themselves more on narcissism and personality disorders and things like that. So we are in a spiritual warfare. When it all comes down to it, we are in a spiritual warfare, and it's very important to make sure that you're doing the spiritual work, not just the love and light, not just the yoga and the farmers market runs and eating healthy and binaural beats and crystal healing. Okay, it's not just about all that, but doing the shadow work too. Acknowledging when you've held yourself back, acknowledging when you have those shortcomings. Every time you say I'll do it later, self-sabotage. Oh, well. Of course you need self-care. Of course you need periods of rest and recovery, but you know what I'm talking about. The moments where you have total time and opportunity to get things done, but you just choose not to. You just choose to do something else that has nothing to do with your future, has nothing to do with any type of offering value to you. Going to the shade room, going to different, pages on social media for nothing. They're not giving you anything in return, just shenanigans. We stand in our own way. So we need to start doing that and taking more of a lead in our life. We need to start showing up bigger, taking up more space, turning up the heat. The Leo is the lion. The lion is the leader. The lion is the alpha. Hands down, without question. So consider how you could show up as an alpha, as a leader in your world. Where? How can you do that? Okay, so what's the shadow work with that? What plans you need to have in place so you don't self-sabotage yourself again, right? Because we can't keep doing this. We can't keep trying to manifest a valuable life, a worthy, fun life, but then not doing the work. You have to check yourself. You have to make sure you're keeping yourself accounted for. Keep yourself updated. Okay, what's working, what's not working? Because when we reach the midpoint of the year, reaching the midpoint of the month too, hell, it's June 15th at the time of this recording. 30 days in September, April, June. Yeah, so we're halfway through the month, halfway through the year. Cheers. And my birthday is in 90 days. But how are we doing this to ourselves, y'all? Sometimes we allow people to play with our time because we don't want to be alone. Stop that. You're disrespecting yourself when you do that. Working a job that you have full free will to quit, offer money. Is it worth it? Is it enough? Consider your values. Leo energy is also considering, your value system. What do you value in this sense? How can you show more praise for yourself? What makes you proud of yourself? What are you proud of when it comes to you? How do you impress yourself? Because when you're focused on impressing yourself, then you will easily and naturally impress others. You don't have to put on. You don't have to cap, as the kids say, okay? When you're living from a place of authenticity, when you're living from the heart, because Leo's a big-hearted energy, when you're living from the heart and doing things that you love, doing things that resonate with your heart chakra, your solar plexus, you're doing things that come natural to you, that lights you up, you don't necessarily have to worry about being judged and criticized and picked on and rejected, because you accept you. I was like, I don't care. It's like you can say, oh, I don't care if you don't think I know how to dance, but I'm having so much fun dancing right now. I really don't even care what you think, right? So you transmute the intention from trying to impress other people to just impressing yourself by just being, by just doing things from the heart, by just doing things that you love, by just being you, just being natural. You see how that works? And so that's what this big theme of Leo energy is all about, because like one of my messages or lessons that I've been learning with my shadow work is just the fear of rejection. When it comes to sales, there is that component of rejection, right? Because you're trying to sell the product or service, and for some people, you may need to paint a picture for them to understand how that product and or service will add value to their lives. And some people just take a little more grooming, I guess you will. But I've always been the type of person, even though I keep finding myself in these salesy type jobs, I always have been a person where I feel like I don't want to have to convince someone to do business with me. I don't want to have to convince someone to choose me out of the other options. It's like you either want me or you don't. But I have to remember that when I'm doing things that I love from the heart, there's not necessarily this need to impress others, because I'm impressing myself. And in impressing yourself, that is such power, right? That takes such strength to accept you, to choose you, to allow yourself to be bigger, to be bolder, to be louder, to be stronger. It takes a lot of allowing and receiving, because it's easy for us to clench a fist. It's easy for us um, to regress and to hide and to not really step into that energy of being bigger. But loosen up, allow, just show up. Sometimes you just need to show up. Just walk into the room. Just walk into the room, and then spirit and energy will handle the rest. Okay? Just log on. Just be present. Just show up. Just get there. Just put yourself in the spotlight. Put yourself in the limelight. Put yourself on stage real quick, and just watch universe work. Just watch spirit work. Just do it. No more hiding. No more sitting in the dark. No more hiding under the blankets. Okay, that was another message that came to me. No more hiding under the blankets. No more hiding in the closet. Okay? Come out. Come out. So if that speaks to you too, come out. Because hiding your true light, hiding your true self, and then lashing out at everybody else that tries to get close to you all because you don't understand what you're going through, it's going to ruin connections and relationships that could have added so much value to your life. So that's why it's so important in these cycles, in these cyclical moments, in these retrograde periods, in these eclipse seasons, and these astrology season changes, right? Because we're moving into Cancer over the weekend. In these moments, that's why it's so important to use the energy to get better. Not necessarily manifest new stuff, but to deal with the old stuff before we can move ahead. So we don't take the baggage with us. So we don't take the anger and the repression and the regression with us. because we're so much more than that. We're so worthy of the highest and best, but we have to make sure we're expecting the highest and best of ourselves, regardless who's watching or not. Even if someone isn't watching, even if there is no camera, even if there is no audience, impress yourself first. Okay, do the right thing first. Do the right thing just because, not because someone will see you doing it. When you're taking your dog out and you see the poop and you have a bag or you have access to a bag, it's in close proximity, the trash can is in close proximity, the poop is in a pathway that you know other dog walkers will probably step in. You don't want to be that to somebody else. Pick up the poop. It doesn't matter if you're in view of someone's window and you're wondering if they're looking at you and talking junk about you or whatever. It doesn't matter if someone sees you or not. Do the right thing. Pick up the poop. Throw it away. Deal with the poop. Don't just walk by it. Don't just keep walking by it. And don't just, like, when you step in the poop, don't just smear it off. Wash the shoe. Get rid of it all the way. Stop holding on to shit. A word. Stop holding on to shit. For real. Cry now, but laugh later. Okay? Keep going through your shadow work. Keep going through this transition you're going through. Keep trying to understand yourself. For those people out there, trying to understand their sexuality. Okay? Keep going. All right? It's not anyone else's job to live your life. Okay? It's not anyone's job to make those choices for you. You have to make your choices. So if you're choosing to stay in the closet, cool, whatever. But just know it's a choice. You don't have to be in there. There are people that have lost their family and friends and jobs and all these things that matter most to them because they chose to step out on faith. They chose to no longer allow fear to win, to allow hate to win. Love will always win, okay? So however that fits into your world, of course, make a plan. Of course, be smart about your things. But ultimately, you don't have to live a life that you hate. Start changing your mindset. Deal with your issues, deal with your problems, okay? Process the relationships that didn't work out, the career relationships, the personal love relationships. Process why they didn't work out, okay? Was it them? Was it you? Is it something more that you could have done? If you know you gave it your best, don't worry about the rest, okay? Highest and best. Expect that of you always, and then you will naturally impress others because you're being genuine and authentic to you. And you, from your own personal standards, is highest and best. So do that. Give your highest and best. And understand, because great leaders can lead from the back. They don't always have to be in the front and spotlight. They can empower others. So there's multiple leaders running, right? Of course, one head honcho, but a great leader empowers others. So to empower others is having to give them the benefit of the doubt, to instill faith, just trusting it's going to work out and not allowing yourself to get all worried and worked up about what could or could not happen. Don't worry about all that. You need to focus on still moving. You need to still focus on still moving ahead. Still need to focus on getting better and glowing up and growing up all the time, regardless of who's in your world. Because if you're keeping your focus on always being better, no matter who shows up and when, you're at least going to be a little more prepared than you would have been if you hadn't made yourself a priority, right? So I say all that to say this. We're wrapping up Gemini season, the energy and the sign of duality, okay? The season of pride. Go within, start understanding what your duality is. Cancer energy, process those emotions, cry it out, yell it out, feel it out. Get into your creative energy, get into your creative flow, express yourself, don't regress, don't hide. Feel those feelings and let it flow as wide as the ocean. and get all that energy out. Because when Leo season comes around, when the fire energy comes around and the end of summer rolls around, we need you to go out with a bang, okay? And for you to go out with a bang, you have to make sure, what are the boos, okay? What are the boos? Maybe get you a boo, help you move that sacral chakra energy. I don't know. Whatever you need to do, okay? But just make sure that you're always focused on getting better. Remember that people are always going to do what they have to do for them, just like I'm sure you're going to have to do what you have to do for you. So when people fall away from your life, when people ghost you, when you feel like you're not getting what you need in return, take a step back. Consider, what's the trade-off here? What am I getting? Am I getting what I need? Am I doing things that make myself proud? At this phase of my life, at this pivot point, because remember, we're in the 6th month, we're halfway through the year. 5 is the number of change, the letter V in Roman numerals, right? This is the number 5, the letter V. So the pivot, are we going to pivot into more greatness, or we're pivoting away from what we've dedicated all this time and energy and focus to, and nothing is happening? Because something's got to pivot. Something has to change. Something's got to give. And this is the energy, this is the season where we do all that. Okay? So, yeah, follow me on Instagram at CheChe Babe, CheCheBabe, as well as the My Virgo Friend podcast. Send me a letter at CheChe, CheChe at My Virgo Friend, as well as Ask Sherelle at My Virgo Friend. Please rate me a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts so I can have more ratings, so more people can get access to this content. I still have great goals. Wow, where does this come from? I have goals on, I am a motivational speaker, but I would love to be on the Les Brown, Lisa Nichols, Ayana Van Zant level of public speaking, motivational speaking. So, the 5-star review, writing that, when you go to Apple Podcasts, scroll all the way to the bottom of my podcast page, it says write a review. You can write a review as you're listening to this episode, okay? So, those reviews really help. If you're listening on audio, I encourage you to go back and watch it on my YouTube channel. I want to help, I want to grow my YouTube channel, and I also want to, just have a greater presence on YouTube. So, if you've listened on audio, I encourage you to go back and watch it on video. Maybe just let it play while you're cleaning the house, while you're folding laundry, while you're eating your dinner, whatever. At work, just let it play. Even when you leave the house, like if you turn on your TV for your fur baby so they're not sitting in silence, I don't know, maybe turn to the My Virgo Friend podcast, turn to the CheChe Babe YouTube channel, and just let the podcast play. Choose the channel and then just let it play so I can get the views. That'll help too. But thank you guys. Please let me know how this podcast is helping you. Let me know about any themes you've noticed. Like if anything resonates with you, let me know. And yeah, just let me know what you like to see more of from me. Shout out to the people that show me love and support for the podcast without me even asking. I love you so much. I'm grateful to you. And it really means a lot to me that you support me on this. So thank you. All right, you guys, remember to take care of yourself, keep doing the shadow work, but remember to celebrate yourself as well. Celebrate your successes. Appreciate how far you've come. Appreciate your blessings. It's 4:44 right now. Acknowledge how far you've come. Acknowledge the growth, okay? Yes, do the shadow work. Yes, face your demons. Yes, process those emotions, but celebrate those victories. Acknowledge the growth so that you can have a better understanding of just how powerful you are, okay? Enough beating yourself up, enough hiding, enough being in the closet. Come out, okay? Allow people to see your fullness. Step into that Leo energy. Mars is in Leo right now, so our masculine energy, the Mars energy, is that of Leo, okay? It's regal, it's loud, it's energetic, it's fun, it's living from the heart, okay? So that's going to be my challenge to you. Keep living from the heart, wear your crown, take up space. I love you so much. Thank you for your support. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye. Peace.